لو اجتمعت العقلاء كلهم من أولهم إلى آخرهم لم يقدروا أن يأتوا بشيء يقاربه في الحسن والتوضيح والإحكام والتفاصيل الصادقة عن أمور الغيب وعن الأحكام الشرعية والمعاملات بين الخلق على اختلاف مراتبها. If every intelligent person was to gather together from the first of mankind to the last of mankind, they would not be able to bring the type of details and their beauty and in their clarification and their precision and in the genuine meticulous details that are found in the book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet as regards the affairs of the unseen, the names and the attributes of Allah, the actions of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, the Sunnah al-Nahi al-Kawniyah, how Allah deals with the creation. And they will not be able to bring the details of the Day of Judgment. Look at the details that we have concerning the belief in the Day of Judgment, the belief in the knowledge of the unseen as regards the word of the angels and the word of the jinn and the shayateen and so on and so forth. What we know about any detailed affairs of the world of the unseen, any what happened in the past or what happened in the future, concerning the ashratu sa'ah, the signs of the hour, the portents of the final hour and the likes of these things. That is something that is not known by way of intellect. It is only known by way of khabrun muwathaq or mawthuq an nabiyyin ma'soom, by validated information from a truthful and infallible messenger, alayhi salatu wassalam. So scholars, they mentioned that in general this is how knowledge is gotten, by three ways. And the knowledge is gotten by the senses, by the five senses, by physically witnessing, observing, tasting, smelling, seeing, feeling, those sorts of things, by the senses. And knowledge is gotten by logic. There are things that are incorporeal, that don't have a physical form, that they are known, right? 1 + 1 = 2, right? 3 × 3 = 9. That's aql, right? That's aql. And then there are things that are known by truthful information from a trustworthy source. You never met your great-great-great-great-grandfather, but perhaps somebody told you about him. Your great-great-great-grandfather, he was tall, his eyes looked like this. He was tall, short, fat, skinny, whatever he was. And he was a smart person. He was good with his hands, whatever you know about the history, about your ancestry, so on and so forth, it came from truthful information from a trustworthy source. And so you believe it. You never saw Asbahan, you know Asbahan exists. You never saw Wak Island, but if somebody discovered Wak Island, and they said, look, these are the daffodils, a picture of the daffodils on Wak Island, you say, that's interesting. Right? You will say, I won't believe it until I see it myself. Right? So a person who gets trustworthy information who gets truthful information from a trustworthy source, this is from the means of learning. This is from the means of learning. And so when the atheist philosophers came in more recent times and from the earliest of times, and they said that we won't accept anything of knowledge except for that which we can physically observe in the material world. We say that you have brought attention to your extreme ignorance, that you have taken one of the most powerful ways of learning and conveying information, and you have ignored it, and you have divorced reality. Whatever the case, the detailed information about these affairs is known only by way of, when it's come in the book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. It's not known by way of philosophy. It's not known by way of mysticism and dreams and visions and so on and so forth. A person can't come and say, my sheikh had a dream last night and he saw the angel Jibreel and he looked like this and the angel Jibreel told him Kada. My sheikh, he's been sitting in the corner in the dark saying Allahu, Allahu for the last 10 years, and then he had a vision. He was taken on the back of a big bird into a garden, and he saw this one and that one, and they said they were Abu Bakr and Umar, and they told us something about our religion that nobody ever knew before. Right? our knowledge, the details of our religion is known by way of the information that came authentically from Allah, from the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there is no way to know the details of our religion as regards worship, as regards creed, as regards the unseen, as regards morality or anything of the sort, except that which is in agreement to the Book and the Sunnah and the understanding of the early generations of Islam. So this is the first thing. And the information that is known by way, the detailed information that is known by way of, a sama' and naql, by way of truthful information from a trustworthy source. And what the Muslims have of a method for preserving the historical record, the knowledge of a jarh wa ta'deel, and of what narrators are acceptable, what narrators are unacceptable, inadmissible, and how a hadith is authenticated or declared to be weak and inadmissible as an evidence, or so on and so forth, is a method that no other nation ever had anything comparable to. The isnad is the silah of the mu'min, and the chain of narration is the weapon of the believer. Even some of the worst of the Orientalists, like Bernard Lewis, admitted that there is no method that exists amongst mankind in any generation that was more that was stronger and more valid than the science of hadith in corroborating and improving the historical record. And what the Muslims had of their historical record, and it was something that was even admitted by the disbelievers. And however, today we find the Orientalists and those that are from the Afraq and from their spawns in Cambridge and Harvard and the major universities studying the science of hadith to try to dismantle Islam, to wage what they themselves have termed to be called the hadith wars. The hadith wars. That's what they said. That's what they said. The hadith wars. This is something out of the major think tanks, military think tanks. The hadith wars, to promote an alternative set of text, of inauthentic text, on key topics that are used by the people of innovation, like democracy and quote-unquote women's rights and our interpretation of Islam and these sorts of things. We're going to promote an alternative set of text, and those who are promoting an alternative set of text on major issues that are connected to vital national security interest. Right? Or they should say that is connected to increasing our profit margins in our sales. So this is something that we must value as Muslims, and we must understand as Muslims. And we must be more adamant as Muslims in studying our religion than the disbelievers who are studying our religion to dismantle and destroy it. So this is the first type of knowledge. The second type of knowledge, and this is a majority of what is found in the text, the second type of knowledge is not something that is outside of the text, but it is something that is found in the text of the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, which is a logical evidence. And this is something very important to understand. The logical evidence is for calling to Tawheed, and the logical evidence is for proving the truthfulness of the Prophethood of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the belief in the Day of Judgment. It's very important to understand the method that was used by Allah and used by the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in calling the creation to Allah, because the vast majority of the groups of deviation, the reason that they deviated from the time of the Jahmiyyah to the time of the Mu'tazila to the time of Al-Ghazali, to the time of the Asha'ira, the extreme Asha'ira, and the new Jahmiyyah like Ghazali and those that were similar to him, they deviated by way of using what they thought was philosophy and logic to debate with the kuffar in issues like the existence of the Creator, and issues like the existence of the Creator, and issues like whether the universe was something created or it always coexisted with the Creator, which is connected to wahdat al-wujud, and the belief of some of the ancient philosophers, and who believed that the Creator and the creation is the exact same thing, that manifests itself with the extreme Sufis, who believe that Allah is everywhere, and the likes of these things. They believed in qidam al-alam, that the universe is actually eternal, that it wasn't really brought into existence, and so on and so forth. And so they tried to use what they thought were logical evidences, using the terminologies and using the methods of the Greek philosophers to debate with the Greek philosophers. Using the methodologies of, or the terminologies of the philosophers and the atheists to try to disprove what they were upon. And in the time of Abu Hatim and Abu Zur'a al-Raziyain, in Khurasan, in Marr, and in Balkh, and in the other cities, anywhere the Muslims were coming into contact with the Brahmins and with the Hindus and with some of the atheist cults of the Eastern mystic religions and so on and so forth, they would get together with them and with the Jews and the Christians inside of the masajid and outside of the masajid, inside of the chambers of the rulers and so on and so forth, and they would say, we are all going to get together, me, you, him, the Buddhist, the Hindu, the Taoist, and we're all going to debate about these affairs of belief using nothing but logic. And we agree that we will not quote our scriptures. None of us, not any of us, will quote our scriptures. And this was a musibah that led to the denial of the attributes of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala and the reinterpretation of many of the texts of the religion, and trying to prove to the kuffar that these Muslims were sophisticated and that they had matters of philosophy that they themselves didn't understand, just like the kuffar have philosophy that they don't understand. Big terms with 8 syllables and so on and so forth. You say something real big, everyone's like, oh, you hear what he said? What does it mean? I don't know, but it's deep. So they want to prove that they were smart. They want to prove that they were sophisticated. And they didn't want to be looked at as Abu Sulaiman al-Khattabi, he said in his book, Al-Ghulya an al-Kalam wa Ahli. He said that cause of deviation of many of the students of knowledge was that if they learned the regular knowledge of the Sahihain, of the 2 authentic collections of Bukhari and Muslim, the authentic knowledge that is found in the general text of the Quran and the Sunnah, that they would be viewed as being just regular people. And so they wanted something to make them elite. They wanted something to make them different. They want to know something that nobody else knows. Have something that nobody else ever figured out, to show how smart they were and to prove their worth, to increase their salaries, the likes of those things. And so it became a major cause of deviation. And ittiba' shawad al-masail, looking for strange issues, trying to talk about things that Allah never revealed any evidence for, and the Prophet ﷺ never spoke about. Shaykh Sa'di rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, as for the second type of thing, which are the affairs connected to logic pertaining to monotheism and the oneness of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, the belief in the truthfulness of the prophets and the messengers and their messages, and the belief in the Day of Judgment. He said, in the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ has produced the strongest of logical evidences for these affairs and physical evidences for these affairs. وتنبيه العقول على جميع المطالب العالية ما لو جمعت جميع ما عند النظار والمتكلمين من البراهين لكان جزءا يسيرا بالنسبة لما في الكتاب والسنة. So that's to the extent that if you were to look at that which is found with the theorists and the rhetoricians and the debaters and the philosophers and so on and so forth of valid logical evidences that they may have, then it is something that is very slight and very little compared to the authentic logical evidences that are found in the Book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What is found in the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is with the clearest of speech and with brevity of speech. خَيْرُ الْكَلَامَ بَقَى وَدَلَّ. The scholars, they say the best of speech is that which is concise and straight to the point. The Prophet ﷺ in a few sentences will speak some words that will cause an entire tribe of people to enter into Islam. He was sent with the conciseness of speech, sallallahu